of the private sector. But it's the LIG and EWS where we have the real problem. So what are the root causes? I mean, the problem is huge, but what are the root causes? There is no land available. Whatever land is available is so expensive that private sector cannot buy that piece of land and develop it for masses. You know, if you look at the even the cost of land versus the construction cost, in a luxury real estate, the land of the cost of the land would be about 20%. And if you go slightly outside the city, take a cheaper land, it would still be about 50 to 60% of the total cost. So cost of land and availability of land is a real big issue, and that's where I think the government need to come into picture. Private sector will not be able to do much on that. Construction cost is certainly rising, and we have seen 20 to 20% increase in the cost of cement, cost of steel. Everything is going up. It's all adding to the woes of not being able to provide affordable housing. The government approvals, no developer is able to start a project less than 2 to 3 years. Whenever a project is conceived, the number of approvals you need to take from central government to state government to municipal corporation, there are about 40 departments involved, and there are 150 tables approximately on which the file has to move from one table to another. So, by the time you're able to start the project, 2 to 3 years are gone, 20 to 25% cost escalation has happened, all this adding to the pains we have. And of course, then we have the financing constraint. We have a great market. If we look at the lower sector, if we look at the sector of say 3 to 10 lakh rupees of financing requirement, it's a huge sector. Its requirement is something like 11 lakh crores. But if we look at 2011, if 55,000 crore financing was done, less than 20% went into that sector. It's majorly MIG and HIG where the financing is going. And I don't blame the financing companies. Given the judiciary system we have in the country, if the financing companies are not able to secure their money and earn the interest they have to earn, they don't want to take the risk. And especially when there is enough MIG and HIG market is available where whole of their fund can be consumed, they don't want to take the higher risk, lower kind of a return. So, but that's the fact of the situation. So with all that, the issue is large and the root causes are very, very deep. I think I'm facing the same technology problem, but I will just talk about my last slide. I put about 7 or 8 points what can be done on that slide. But before I start on that slide, I would say that it was very easy for me to put 8 points on a slide and say these are the solutions that need to be done. Having said that, these are easier said than done. The problem, the root causes are so deep that resolving these matters is not something which can be done overnight. It starts from even making the land available. It's not that easy. You have to computerize the land records. Government has to play a much larger role in that. There has to be implementation of master plans. We have seen number of master plans coming up from 2011, 2021, 2031, but do they get implemented as fast as possible? Probably not. A lot of work required in that area. Use of geographical information, redressal of the issues relating to the land. So the larger piece of land has to be available, right? It's easier to say that if you move to outside the city, land would be cheaper, FSI will be cheaper, and then therefore you can make an affordable housing. But if the infrastructure is not there, if the metros are not going there, if the transportation system is not there, even if you go 20 kilometers outside the city for a cheaper land, You can make the affordable housing, but nobody can inhabit it, that place. So this is one area where government will have to play a larger role. Of course, then we can talk about the innovative method of financing is required, innovative method of technology, where there is a prefabrication, where we can have the housing to be lower. So effectively, whether it's more so which government will have to play the role, where when it's availability of land, as I talked about, where private sector can be encouraged. And private sector can be encouraged when there is an incentive. Private sector just cannot sell something at a lower cost if it is not costing low. So whether it's incentive in terms of taxation, whether it's incentive in terms of providing higher FSI, for creating that low cost housing, those incentive has to be given to the private sector. As far as financing is concerned, again, we have talked about 5% subsidy, etc. But some of those things have to kind of come up both in terms of financing and construction technology where it is possible. So I would close. I won't take much of a time. I'll leave it for the lunch time now. But having said that, it's a deep issue. It requires long-term sustainable actions. Only then we can resolve this problem and come up with a dream where we can match almost the developed countries, which have almost about 20-25% of housing share in the affordable housing and not a $1 million housing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Akhil. I think you had a very good presentation. If you could share this presentation with the Naredco, we would like to put it on our portal, number one. Number two, I think even the ministry and the state governments also might like to go into this presentation because it looks into, I think, around all the aspects, including the money, finance, etc. as well. So with this, this session is, I think, over because people have to go for lunch. We all must go for lunch, rush for lunch rather, and try to come back at 2:15 when the next session will start. And Sandhu Saab will be in the next session. I've already taken his consent that he says that, okay, I will be there in the next session. He does not want to hold people,
So before we leave, let us honor the panel with the mementos and blossoms of love. I'll request Deepak Bharadwaj ji, President Uttarakhand Naredco, to be here, and please, for handing over the mementos to all the panelists. Before they leave, Mr. Deepak Bharadwaj, President Uttarakhand Naredco, an eminent builder, hotelier, famous for his philanthropic activities. We are indeed delighted. Shri Sushil Kumar ji, Shri Raj Singh ji Gehlot, Shri Ashok Solomon.